I'm compelled to speak out about a little something called cultural appropriation. Um, just for me to start this video off, may look white, totally white, light eyes. My natural hair color is like not this color, it's probably closer to this color. But I'm Mexican Peruvian. That's how I identify. I do have white ancestry. But because both of my parents came from Hispanic countries and grew up there, that's how I identify. Um, but despite how much I don't identify with white people, um, I have to start off by saying that this cultural appropriation movement about hating it and whatnot is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard in my life. So I just watched a video about the. I don't watch Hunger Games, nor am I a huge fan of it, but I guess it's one of the actresses who played the little girl. Um, she spoke out on cultural appropriation because of Kylie Jenner's cornrows. Um, Now I know she's like super white, like I believe Chris and Bruce Jenner are both white, and so that makes the Jenner girls completely white and not Armenian at all. But that's besides the point. Point is, I mean, at least this should be the point. The actress described cultural appropriation as a privileged race taking somebody else's culture that they know, or taking a type of ritual or way of doing something and not knowing the deep meaning of it. First of all, if you're going to do this cultural appropriation is bad thing, you should do it towards every race. Otherwise, you are just racist yourself. But I don't agree with that because there are lots of things every race does that it adopts from another race, and I believe there's a word for that, or a term, and that's called cultural assimilation. Cultural appropriation, or cultural assimilation, is the process by which a person or a group's language and or culture come to resemble those of another group. So, if you take an actual person from Africa and then you compare it to an African American, they are nothing the same. And the reason why is because of cultural assimilation. They adopted a lot of white culture. Straightening your hair, let me think. I guess straightening your hair is probably the most accurate. Is something that black girls do, and a lot of other races do. I do it. My hair is obviously not naturally straight, but that's something white girls technically have without needing to really straighten their hair. That's something that's white culture. The way we dress now has all kind of formed into a huge melting pot of cultures, but typically it's because of white people. Um, what else? I'm trying to think of more. Can't think of more right now. Even dances, for example. I don't know where most dances came from, but classical dances, maybe like a waltz. Let's look it up right now before I start talking about it. Origin of waltz. Came from Austria. And Austria is white, mostly Spanish and Italian. So, any person who is not white, whether you're black, Mexican, Asian, and you're waltzing, you're and first of all, you don't really know, most of the time, you don't really know the history of waltzing and why it came to be. Therefore, cultural appropriation by definition of the actress from Hunger Games. No, we're not privileged, technically, according to everybody else. We're not, despite the fact that I live in a 4-bedroom house. I grew up in Orange County, California, one of the richest areas in United States of America. That's just like for suburban, you know. Despite the fact that I have a very good job, and you know, despite the fact that I'm a woman and I can vote and do a whole bunch of things, apparently I'm not privileged. Although I kind of feel like I am privileged, I have not experienced a lot of struggles that most people have in this world, um, including those of my race. They haven't, especially those that grew up in the United States of America, have not experienced anything quite as bad as what you would say an underprivileged woman or man in any other country has of any other race. So I'm rambling now, but I don't agree with it. And there's it's really hard to talk about this because it just enrages me so much how the United States of America, especially teenagers and people my age, people around my generation, have been just consistently victimizing themselves on every little aspect of themselves. If it's not me being a woman, it's my race. If it's not my race, it's my age. If it's not my age, it's the time that I was born. If it's not this, it's the economy because of my age. If it's not, it's just, it's not, we're not strengthening ourselves. We're just putting each other down to think that we have it at the lowest of the low, and we don't. We really don't. We have it way better than a lot of people. Granted, we have our set of struggles from, our generation has our set of struggles that others didn't. But we have it pretty well. I mean, children don't get beat in this day and age because from schools. Now that's pretty illegal, and any school that does that, will probably get shut down. If I get paid less than a man, I can tell the government and they will do something about it. And if you don't believe any of these things, then do something about it. Stop complaining. Stop saying, oh, I get paid less, wah, wah, wah. Do something about it. You don't like somebody wearing your culture? Who cares? It's freedom of expression. People wear sombreros all the time. And I'm Mexican, Peruvian, right? They wear sombreros on Cinco de Mayo here in California. All the white people, they have maracas shaking around, laughing, ha ha ha. We're not Mexican, but we're pretending to be because today's Mexican Day. Who cares? I'm not gonna cry about it. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. And they're making themselves look a little bit idiotic, but I'm not mad. I'm just like, okay, they just look kind of stupid. Stop worrying about what other people do. Stop worrying about it. Worry about yourself. Worry about how you're going to get stronger. Stop worrying about how other people bring down your culture. Okay? Only worry about it if it's a legitimate problem. If the government's not giving you rights because of that. If you're just crying because you don't like seeing cornrows on a white person, come on. Come on, it's stupid. You're crying about nothing. Alright. I spent too much time on Tumblr. I love Tumblr and, the hilariousness that ensues on it, but just the victimizing complex that they have, it's ridiculous. And it's spreading to the whole world. And maybe there's something wrong with me as to why I can't see this, but I just can't. I can't see why everybody thinks it's so cool to be a victim. I can't see why everybody thinks that you have to fight for something that you're making up. Cultures adopt other cultural aspects no matter what race you are. Just because you're white and nobody chooses to be born white, just because you're white, you can get mad at them for it just because of their color of skin. That's stupid. It's just stupid. Okay, I'm done.